Welcome to day 30 and the final day of Shadowhunters Month. Crazy. We're already at the end. It's kind of flown by for me, even though I started shooting some of these videos. Like, what would it have been? Like late September, early October, I kind of started filming a few of these. So it's kind of been, an even longer period of time for me. I'm kind of bringing this to you, but my goodness, amazing. I've already reached the end of November. These 30 days really have flown by. I suppose it's kind of helped me get through November, because it's been very stressful with uni this month, and being able to focus on these every day has just made November fly by. And before I know it, we're going to be in December, and Christmas is my favourite time of year, so that makes me very happy. So yeah, for the final day, I thought it made sense to have this be the video, because I've talked about things I love about Shadowhunters and characters I love from Shadowhunters throughout this whole month, but I thought it was kind of appropriate to end with me just talking about why I love Shadowhunters in general. Because ever since I kind of first discovered the show in 2016 and read the books following watching season 1, it's kind of taken over my life and taken over my heart, and yeah, really has affected my life in a big way, as you may have seen in my reactions and videos throughout this month, by my video about the cancellation and how drained and devastated I was in that video. Yeah, so I thought it would just be kind of a nice, heartwarming way to end what's been a really fun month for me, and I hope it's been a fun month for you guys as well, even if not every single video kind of appealed to you, because I know there'll be people who only like the books, people who only like the show, or people who like both, which is awesome. And of course the movie, the movie's got a few mentions every now and again. But yeah, I've got a few notes just to kind of help me stop rambling a bit too much, even though I've already been doing that. But yeah, the first point I kind of wanted to make about why I love Shadowhunters was just how inclusive the franchise is as a whole. All these different characters, different backgrounds, different sexualities, different races, and that goes even beyond just downworlders, Shadowhunters, fairies, stuff like that. It's not just about those different races, we have Asian characters, we have people of colour, we have Latino characters, and so much kind of diversity in the characters and the cast of the show. So obviously, Luke is white in the books, and we have, a black Luke in the show. But the character isn't defined by the colour of their skin or where they come from, which is why the show could make decisions like that, because it doesn't change anything about the character, because these characters in Shadowhunters aren't their sexualities, and they aren't where they came from. They are very much who they are and who they represent and the friendships they make, and I love that. So just having kind of this really wide range of characters, beyond just like powers and abilities in Shadowhunters, is really inspiring to me, and I think it's still kind of rare these days to get a collective franchise with that much diversity and an inclusivity, because everyone and anyone can kind of feel at home in the world of Shadowhunters, and I absolutely adore that about the whole thing. And another thing is the fan base. All my reactions, I've had so much support and love from people who've watched the show. In some of these videos, I've had people kind of message me about how much they enjoy the videos and enjoy the books, and we get to talk about the books. And I've really loved and enjoyed those conversations that I've been having. Seeing how the fan base went through the Save Shadowhunters campaign and how incredible and moving all our efforts have been through that movement. Just how welcoming we've been when new people have joined the show on like Twitter and stuff, and they're talking about it, because they've been kind of singing the praises of the fandom as a whole and the fan base, for just being so amazing, and you know, we love it when people kind of watch our show and fall in love with it in the same way we did. It's just such a supportive, and very much like Shadowhunters books and the show, it's very inclusive. And yeah, some of the best fans I interact with online and on my channel, which just adds a whole other layer of love to all of Shadowhunters for me, because it's a safe space, and it makes me feel really happy to kind of be in that world, and talk with some fellow fans about it, because I've met some really cool people through Shadowhunters. And also, kind of, I love the emotional connection I have to the characters on the show and in the books. As I've mentioned, there are so many characters I've completely fallen in love with, like Will, Tessa and Jem in the Infernal Devices, because Clockwork Princess, I think it is, was the first time I've ever cried at a book, ever. And I think that shows just how emotionally affected I was by it, and how invested I am in this world and these characters and these stories. It just speaks to the power of them. These are really powerful characters, really powerful stories, that really resonated with me and have broken my heart and made me laugh out loud and all sorts. One of the Mortal Instruments books was the first time I ever laughed out loud at a book, and then Infernal Devices books is when I first cried at one. And I love that Shadowhunters has the power to affect me like that, and obviously there's been some hysterical moments in the show. There have been some absolutely heartbreaking moments in the show as well that made me slightly teary. But yeah, I think that just speaks volumes about how much influence and power Shadowhunters can have over me. And I love that it can affect me in such a way. Because honestly, if you're not kind of emotionally invested in the show or the characters, or you don't enjoy them, you know, is there a point to it? I feel like I crave having that kind of emotional connection to a show, and I think it's rare that I have that connection to a show in the way I do with Shadowhunters and the way I connect to the books. And because it's so rare and special, I really do savour every second I have with it, and it just means so much to me. And then there's also the characters. We have some truly incredible character work in Shadowhunters, both the show and the books. Some amazing character arcs and punch the air moments and brilliant kind of romances and conflicts and villains and heroes. You know, deaths that kind of break your heart. Romantic moments that, you know, make you punch the air. Just some absolute top-class storytelling all around. With some incredible characters, so well written, so well brought to life by the actors in the show, and the writers of the show. And I mean, we've kind of seen how Manic has kind of exploded since Shadowhunters started a couple of years ago, and how these characters and these stories, both the books and the show, have helped and changed so many people's lives. I just think that's awe-inspiring, and just so beautiful and wonderful. And I love that Shadowhunters can represent this kind of fan base and fandom and franchise that welcomes anyone into their home, if you will, but also inspires hope in a lot of us. There's characters I relate to, like Simon, and see his kind of journey to like this super badass hero, and it kind of gives you hope that, you know, you can go on a similar sort of journey, and you have these characters that you really root for, and see them kind of get the happiness that they deserve, is always such a rewarding experience. And the reason I go back to the books and go back to watching old episodes of the show again and again and again, it's a world you can get lost in, and a world you can truly appreciate. And yeah, I just constantly am in awe of the characters that Cassandra Clare created, and that we've seen kind of brought to life through the show and delved into in the books and beyond. You know, it goes beyond just the books and the show. We have fan art, we have fan fiction, we have all sorts of incredible stuff that's all spurred from just, you know, one idea, I suppose, in Cassandra Clare's head. I think that's incredible. So much love and creativity has come from Shadowhunters, and I absolutely adore that. And yeah, just seeing all these characters that we've been introduced to, books and show, go on these awesome, incredible, heartbreaking, heart-pounding journeys, and really seeing things come full circle for some, losing some characters, really rooting for some more than others, because obviously everyone's relationship with different characters is going to be different to everyone else's. But I love that because it kind of makes you feel like you have your own unique journey with Shadowhunters and this own unique connection to it that no one else will ever have and no one can ever take from you. I think that's a beautiful thing as well. And despite the death and destruction and the tragedy that we see in a lot of the Shadowhunters stories and some of the episodes of the show, somehow you can always manage to hold out hope that things will be okay, because these characters that you've grown to love are so strong and so powerful, together and apart. You kind of just know that you'll be okay and you feel at home with them. So Shadowhunters really is a home to so many people, including me. And the biggest thing for me, I think, Shadowhunters came into my life at a perfect time. Because I kind of happened to, come across the show on Netflix and kind of fell in love with it. Started reading the books because I got interested in that side of things. And it was 2016 when my parents were having a bit of trouble. And there was kind of really shaky, period of my life there. We had some deaths in the family that year, and it's kind of been an awful spiral ever since then, really, because that's when my life took a really kind of downward spiral. I'd like to think it's gotten a bit better, but I've still never felt right since then. And there was just one day where I felt my heart sank, and I'm being totally honest when I say I never felt normal again. Kind of since I lost my nan in 2016. And we've had a few more deaths in the family since then. And my parents split up last year through something I probably shouldn't go into, so I won't. And just as that kind of happened to me, I was reading The Mortal Instruments, and Alec and Isabel were dealing with their parents getting divorced. So I found a connection with that, and I found a home and comfort in these characters, because seeing that they dealt with it and they got through it kind of made me feel like I could do it as well. And again, with everything with Simon, I really related to him because he reminded me a lot of myself, and just seeing his ups and downs and that he came out on the other side kind of gave me hope that I could do the same thing. And I like to think I'm on the way there still. I feel like I still have a long way to go with that, and I don't think I'll ever be the same again since things happened. But I honestly believe that the Shadowhunters show and the books really did save a lot of me that I feel like would have been lost if I hadn't discovered them. And that's just what it means to me. And I think that's the most honest I've ever been on one of these videos. Fuck me. I got deep. But yeah, that's what Shadowhunters means to me, that's what it's done for me, and that's why it's always going to have this special place in my heart, and why I will love it and look back on these stories and these characters with so much pride and joy in years and years to come. And, hopefully if I have kids one day, I'd like to kind of introduce them to the show and the books, and hopefully that they could enjoy them, and I hope they get as much out of them, half as much out of them as their old dad did. But yeah, this franchise and this fandom truly saved a big part of me, and I will be forever thankful for that. So yeah, that's why I love Shadowhunters. Let me know what what made you fall in love with Shadowhunters, whether it be the books or the show or both. Why you love it as much as you do. But yeah, that's why I love Shadowhunters and always will. And just like that, we're done. That is Shadowhunters Month over and done with. It's been quite a long time planning. I think I had the idea in like July-ish, maybe even before that actually. It's like I did mention before, I planned to do this as a countdown video for 3B airing, but then everything with the show went down. I was like, well, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to do it in November, just to kind of keep Shadowhunters content on my channel consistent, and to get people hyped for whenever the show came back. And then we got like 2-3 days into the month, and they announced a return date for Shadowhunters, because of course they did it then, not in like the 5 previous bloody months freeform. But it is what it is, and I'm really glad I did it, and I've had an absolute blast making all these videos for you guys, and I hope you've enjoyed them too. But yeah, thank you so much for watching these videos and for commenting and liking and sharing and all your support on them. It's been amazing. Had an absolute blast, and yeah, I hope you did too. So until whatever the hell I'm going to be doing next Shadowhunters wise, it'll probably be when the show comes back in February. Until then, thank you so much for watching. See ya.